Hello, everyone, and welcome to Networked. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, Executive Director of NCW Tech Alliance and your host today. At NCW Tech, our mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. We are honored to be able to partner with so many amazing businesses and organizations who share our passion for community. I'm really thrilled to have a colleague in the nonprofit world join me on air today to talk about his organization, the Numerica Performing Arts Center, or the Numerica PAC. Located in the heart of downtown Wenatchee, the Numerica PAC brings quality productions, events, and cutting-edge performances. In short, they offer a little something for everyone to enjoy. On today's episode, you'll have the chance to meet Jay Woody Lotz, the new Executive Director of the Numerica PAC. Woody will be sharing about the organization and what you can look forward to this year. And welcome back to Networked. I am so excited to introduce our guest, Woody Lotz, Executive Director of the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Welcome to Networked.
Thank you for having me. This is actually really exciting.
Yes. I mean, we have gotten a little bit of a chance to know each other as colleagues in the nonprofit world.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some of our audience may have seen you on the NCW Life channel previously, but
Yes.
in case they've missed those segments, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background before we talk about the PAC.
Absolutely. So, as you stated, my name is Woody Lotz, and I'm now the new Executive Director at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. And I have been on the job at this point about 5 months. So a little less than half a year. But my 90-day warranty has expired, so they can't return me. The board can't return me. We've made a decision. Yeah. And a little bit about me. I'm from Parker, Arizona, which is a 1 square mile town on a Native American reservation, home to 4 different Native American tribes, the Navajo, Hopi, Chemehuevi, and Mojave, and has a huge Spanish-speaking population as well. It's 1 square mile, and it only has about 5,000 people in the entire town.
So when we think we're rural, you must be like, we're thriving metropolitan.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Right.
And so I grew up there, and then went to community college at Arizona Western College, and got my degree in theater, my AA in theater. And then I quit school and took a job teaching in Arequipa, Peru. So I moved to Peru at 21 to teach what was translated to me as a couple of classes, and I ended up teaching 3rd grade through seniors in high school. And 2 classes from 3rd grade all the way through 8th grade, and then individual freshmen through seniors.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So,
yes.
And I had never taught before, but
Right.
My dad was a teacher. My brothers are both teachers. So it comes in the blood a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so learned from them, figured out how to build lesson plans. I kind of do things, just jumping both feet into the deep end of the pool most of the time. And then I finished that, and I came back a year later and finished my theater performance degree at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona. Met my wife Osiris there. We got married a month later. 2 weeks after that, we packed up all of our stuff and moved into affordable income housing in Linwood, Washington. So we had, I think, a total of $55 in our bank account. So I was working at bars and restaurants, and then became a professional actor. So I continued to work in bars and restaurants.
Right, to fill in the income there.
Exactly.
Right, yes.
And Osi was a dance teacher, so she taught jazz, ballet, and tap for the city of Lake Forest Park and the city of Kirkland. And then I decided I wanted to help arts and communities. And so I explored those options, and that ended up happening. I found a program in arts, an MFA in arts leadership at Seattle University. And I spent 2 years there and started doing a practicum with Book It Repertory Theater in their marketing department. And then the next quarter, I did it in their development department. And then their tour manager was taking a job in California. And so they asked me to apply to become their tour manager. And so I went through the full interview process and became the tour manager at Book It Repertory Theater in the Seattle Center. So my office was literally right underneath the Space Needle, which was pretty cool.
And I imagine Seattle is just a thriving arts community with so much to offer. Of course, I know COVID has changed a lot of those things.
Yes.
So we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But then you went a stint out of theater for a while.
I went a stint out of theater, so I graduated, and it just became, unfortunately, it was so expensive to travel into the city. You're driving every day, or you have to take the bus every day. And we lived, what's only probably 7 miles north of the city. But when you drive the I-5 most days and have to get off to get to the Seattle Center, it takes you an hour and a half to get home. And so I had a friend reach out and he said, hey, I think you'd be really great as an assistant project manager for commercial casework construction. I knew nothing about any three of those words that he said to me. And I said, Andy, I don't know anything about this. And he said, but you're organized, you'll show up. And I think you could really use the business acumen, which he was right. I really wanted to focus more on the business side instead of the artistic side. I mean, I worked with a smaller budget at Bookit and ran those tours, which was great because I became familiar with our tour actually ran in Quincy and Kashmir and Leavenworth and Wenatchee. So I found out about Central Washington before ever thinking about this job. Mm-hmm. And then I got hired at W.W. Wells Millwork, and my first project that I helped assist with was it was a $2.5 million brand new UW population health building. So we built 9 floors of casework there. So again, jumping both feet into the deep end of the pool, and it was great. And within 5 months, I started running my own projects, got promoted to be a project manager, and I ran 20 different projects kind of simultaneously for Google and Amazon and Wizards of the Coast, who makes Dungeons and Dragons. I was the project manager for their new lead out build room. So if you see that on Twitch, I was the person in charge for that project. That was my last project before I left. And it was great. And it was really exciting. And it was a great way to work with budgets and really see in a very high paced environment. Nothing I'd ever experienced before. And then applied for the job here and got it.
So you've been in theater, you've been an educator.
Yes.
You've been a project manager.
Yep. Been a bartender.
Been in hospitality.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. How does that all blend into the new role as executive director of the Performing Arts Center?
Well, it's all, I tell everybody, it's kind of, you get a little slice of the pie from everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. You learn something about yourself in each one of those, in hospitality. Mm-hmm. It was really about customer service and patron experience. So when you think about coming to the Performing Arts Center, I really think about what's our patron experience from the time someone walks in our door to the time they leave. What does that patron experience look like? And are they coming back? Is there a return on investment of them buying a ticket sale? On top of that, are they really so passionate about what we're doing now and hearing about our mission that they're going to be a donor later on? And then as an educator, part of our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. So over let me see here. A couple months ago in December, we actually had the Career and Technology Student Services reach out to us, and we hosted 400 8th graders through our building to teach them about careers in the performing arts centers and how our business model actually works and how it has an economic impact on the rest of our community. And so being an educator really helped with that. And then being a project manager and working with budgets really helps when it comes time to budget. And, numbers, I had a professor in college. She's the chief financial officer for Fifth Avenue now. She was at Seattle Repertory Theater, Rachel Roberts. She's an incredibly intelligent woman and was a phenomenal professor. And she said, numbers tell a story. And so working with those budgets in commercial casework, really the numbers do tell a story. So what are they telling for our business now? Because it's so new to me. I haven't been here, and we'd been shut down for 18 months, that it's now, okay, how do we develop that? And what are the numbers telling us and all of those things? So we get it, it helps give you a slice of the pie to have a bird's eye view of your entire organization.
Well, and I want to dive more into the organization, but let's just start first by how's the reception been moving out here and settling in from Seattle, from the west side into North Central Washington?
Great. People have been incredibly friendly. This is a great community, ups and downs. We'll talk about COVID and how that's impacted. Mm-hmm. But, for the most part, people really support the Numerica PAC. They really have a lot of love for the place. And I think something I tried to instill the moment I stepped in the door was, I have a love for the arts. I always say this to everybody, art ends the word heart, and our heart is our mission, right? That's what we lead with as a nonprofit. So if we're leading with our heart and the art is coming with it, everything else will follow. And because there's such a passion for that here in this community and in the Valley, I think people got that sense of me of, this person really wants to help champion this place. I never call myself a boss. I'm allowed to say I'm the person that gets to champion our organization forward.
Yeah, I love your philosophy, Woody. I'm inspired sitting here, first of all, and especially that leading with your heart piece. I think that resonates across all of the nonprofits that are serving our community. Now, a lot of our community has not been to the Numerica Performing Arts Center. So if someone's watching today and they say, where is it? What is it about? How would you describe the Performing Arts Center?
Absolutely. So it gets a little, right? So there's the Wenatchee Convention Center and
Yeah.
there's the Numerica Performing Arts Center. And that is all considered the Stanley Civic Center. But if you Google us, right, and you say Numerica Performing Arts Center, it's going to pop up our address. And it's 123 South Wenatchee Avenue. I get confused by that. South Wenatchee Avenue. And you'll see right on Wenatchee Avenue, we're right across the street. If you know where Lamolo and Yogi Grind and the Walkabout Grill are, we're literally right across the street. So you'll see these big glass doors. And if you walk through those glass doors, you see this beautiful mural, right, on top of our building. And that is our upper lobby. And if someone never been in our building before, they would go, how do I buy a ticket? Where would I go? Well, you'd see right to your right-hand side, this beautiful staircase that leads you right down into our lower lobby. And we have big signs, and it'll point you to our box office and where the restrooms are and our coat check during the wintertime. And you'll see our beautiful concessions area. And if you're there during the holidays, you'll see all these nutcracker trees or trees for festival trees that decorate our building. And you kind of get this sense of an upper lobby and a lower lobby, places that we're trying to activate in different ways, as we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the experience you'll get. And then these doors will open, these double doors will open in our lower lobby, and you get to see these immaculate, old school, red plush seats that you get to sit in. And if you look up, there's a big red stage area, and you can see the balcony above you. Or if you come through our upper lobby and you have seats in the balcony, which is my favorite spot to sit in, you can sit in the upper balcony. You can see all, the entire show and all of the stage. So it's kind of an experience. When you come to the Numerica Performing Arts Center, we want you to have an experience.
Well, I would hope that everyone who just listened to that is going to be clamoring to come down to the PAC to see it in person. We're so lucky. Having a beautiful theater like the Numerica Performing Arts Center is an asset for the community. I know we're going to talk about also the asset in terms of economic support that brings into a downtown or to a region. But first, we've got to head out to a commercial break. So we'll pause now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Woody here in a minute to talk more about the Numerica Performing Arts. Well, welcome back. We are on air today with Woody Lotz from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. In our first segment, we had the chance to kind of get to know you, Woody, and your background, which was a lot of fun. Let's talk about the Numerica Performing Arts. What events, performances, what's on the radar? It's been such a challenge since COVID for the arts community in general. And the PAC was no exception to that.
First business to close in Wenatchee, last business to open. First to close, last to open, but we have I've told people get off the tracks because the train's coming through, things are moving and shaking. So, at this moment in time, we've got all three of our Cold Winter Nights comedy series actually coming starting on January 29th with Andrew Oroflo, and he's absolutely amazing. He's a killer Filipino comedian. And then right after that, we're going to have a couple other shows. We've got Colin Mockery. He's got a hip prov show, which brings in a master hypnotist, and then they call people out in the audience, they hypnotize them, and then Colin does improv with them. So it'll actually be it's going to be a really fun show.
Dynamic, yes.
Yep. And then we've got Kyle Kinane, who's a huge comedian, massive comedian, and he's actually going to be here 2 nights. He's doing one Friday night on March 11th and then a Saturday night on March 12th, which is something we've never done before. Usually we do it in 2 in 1 night, and we're actually splitting him up to do 2 separate ones, which he agreed to, so it's really exciting.
That is exciting.
And then Jay Jordan is been on Comedy Central and all kinds of other stuff and is absolutely hilarious, and we're really excited to kind of bring this diverse set of comedians here. And then the big one is, if you ever listen to NPR or you've seen any late night show, with Johnny Carson, to Jay Leno, to David Letterman, to Conan O'Brien, or Jimmy Fallon, the incomparable Paula Poundstone is coming in April. So we're really excited. We keep saying any one of these acts would headline our season. And
you have all of them.
And we have all of them. We have all of them. And we tell people, we're tired of people driving to Seattle or Spokane to see a show. We have a world-class venue here. We want to keep you here. We want this to be for our community and let it really be this treasure, in this connected community, in this wonderfully intimate setting that we have. You get an experience like nowhere else in the region.
That's incredible. That's a very exciting lineup. But your events that you host are not the only activities that happen
No.
at the Performing Arts Center. Let's talk a little bit about the groups that call the PAC the home for their ongoing events.
Yeah, so if you look at, we host a range of different events throughout the year. One is the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra usually does 5 performances a year. And we're working on something for next November with them that we're really excited about. But they come 4 or 5 times a year. We also have Fabulous Feet Dance Studio that comes into our area. Stage Kids has used our theater before. So we've also been the home to the Apple Blossom pageant in years past. So we have a lot of different folks, including the NCW Tech Alliance. They host the Flywheel Conference in May, which is really exciting because it's a way that I think activates our space that people don't really realize, is that you can rent our facility, and especially during the day when we don't have events going on like that, you can also rent our lobby, for a party or host it out for a happy hour. We can do a variety of different things. Our space is very multifunctional. So we host a lot of different people locally. So we have a lot of different stuff. We do a show called Holiday Spice, which is a fundraiser for the Numerica PAC, and it's all local artists who sing and perform dances. And I tell everybody, a show like that we really love because it's by community and for community. And then we partner with Music Theater of Wenatchee to put on the Apple Blossom musical in May. And this year it's The Wizard of Oz. And we're really excited. There's going to be a lot of flying going on. We have a fly rig system coming in for this show, so it's really going to be a lot of fun.
That's going to be very dynamic.
Yeah.
In the audience.
Yep.
Literally people flying on stage.
Yes.
And what a classic play as well.
Yeah, it's always a show that we try and target so that the entire family can come, right? We have 365 days a year where we give a variety of stuff, but our Apple Blossom musical is really one that we try and partner and think of with MTW to be a family show so that we can get generations of families into our building, which is really great.
Let's kind of sideways on there, driving people into the building. It's a huge economic engine for downtown. Let's talk about how the PAC is such a huge part of not just supporting events and programs there,
right,
but the general community.
So I tell people we have a duty culturally and artistically to the community, but then we have this fiscal responsibility and economic impact on the community that I don't think people sometimes understand. When we put 553 people in a building, or we put 490 people in the building, or 200 for a Cold Winter Nights, it's a comedy series. That means those people are in our downtown. And I tell people, these are local businesses that, my parents came back in November, and they were so excited because my mom was like, the places like this don't exist anymore. Like every restaurant I go into, it's locally owned. Every shop that I go into, it's locally owned. So, our team really approaches this. We want to empower the community to realize if you're coming down to see a show at the Numerica PAC, that means people are probably going to be spending money at a restaurant at downtown, or a business in downtown, or down at the market at Pybus. They get a chance to see things they wouldn't explore normally. And so that's a huge economic impact on our community, which we really take a lot of pride in.
And it adds to the vibrancy of the experience,
Mm-hmm.
because if they're coming down to watch a show, to welcome them into downtown and to other businesses.
Yep.
I mean, it just adds to the experience of wanting to come back, which is, I think you mentioned in the first segment of when people leave, are they wanting to come back, and what is that experience for them? And you're also driving a lot of decisions around data.
Yeah.
Right.
So
yeah,
when you think, when I took over, a thought I had was, again, what do the numbers tell us? So let's look at our data and analytics to say, where are people buying tickets from? How many tickets are they buying? And are they repeat customers? And are they becoming donors, right? We can track that through our systems. And I had our box office manager, Zach, pull a report he had never pulled before. And it was able to show us exactly where people were buying their tickets from. And we found out, we've put over 8,000 people through our building up to this point, and they have been from 22 different Washington state counties and over 15 different states here across the country. So those are people not from our community who are then spending their dollars here in our community every time they come see a show. Not just with us, but across our entire city.
And going back to your comment earlier about why drive them to other parts of the state or other parts of the country? Bring more shows here. That's not just going to support the local base,
Right.
but drive an influx of tourism.
Exactly. And when you do that, we have so many different touristic things. We're a huge outdoor destination, but then the sun's going to go down at some point.
Right.
So they need something to do.
Right.
So if we give them something artistically or culturally that's very exciting, that's what our job is to do, then they're going to stay longer. Or they might stay an extra night because they want to see a show on a Saturday night. They come in on a Friday and they're like, normally we'd probably head back home on Saturday afternoon after we were done doing whatever outdoor activity it was. Well, now they're going to stay on Saturday night to see a show because it's enticing.
Let's talk about how you make the decision for which show. I mean, you had some amazing headliners for the comedy series coming up. If a community member is watching today and they say, oh, I would love if the PAC could bring X artist or X performance, what's a great way for the community to share feedback?
I tell anybody, we have an email, info@numericapac.org, and you can email that to us and just title the headline, Act I Would Love to See. Our responsibility as a nonprofit organization is to listen to our community. And we don't know what you want to see until you tell us. And so you can email them. You can email me at woodyl@numericapac.org. And I will relay that to our director of programming and director of marketing, Alex Haley. And that's the kind of stuff that we can talk about and go, okay, is this fitting in? And sometimes people will be like, oh, we want to see this person. And we're like, we've actually already brought them in. So
and they weren't aware, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a way for us to really dialogue with our community that way.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, unfortunately, we have to head out to a final commercial break in a minute. But Woody, anything else to add to the audience today? We talked about how they can share information on shows. Purchasing for those upcoming shows
Tickets,
as well?
you can get your tickets at numericapac.org. Our box office is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., or you can call us at 663-ARTS, and that's
Awesome.
how you can buy a ticket.
So you've got it all set up for those who want to do the tech route, those who want to come down in person.
Exactly.
Come and then come see a show at the PAC.
And come see a show at the PAC. We're here for you.
Awesome. Well, Woody, thank you for joining me on air today. It's been so much fun to talk with you. We do have to head out to one final commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I want to thank you for joining us today right here on the NCW Life channel. I also want to thank our guest today, Woody Lotz from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Such a joy to have him on air. I learn something new every time. And let's close it out by ending with something Woody said about leading with your heart. I hope that was an inspiration for all of us, especially this time of year. Think about the nonprofits that you work with in your community. Consider supporting the PAC, coming out to a show.
As a 501c3, their nonprofit mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. You can network with the team and guests from today's show by visiting them at www.ncwtech.org.